Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial video. So what I wanted to do was to try and help you in maybe sort of using some footage which maybe you think hasn't got any more use anymore and it can't contend with the latest stuff you've got, because maybe you've got a new drone or a new camera and it's producing 4K footage. Now some of these clips like this one here, these were done with my latest, which is 4K, and then I had some nice shots here and here of this Cornish coastline which I wanted to include because I thought it was really nice, and the only problem I had with it is it was filmed with an older piece of tech and it wasn't quite as good as my latest. So I'm going to quickly go through a few little tweaks and details you can do just to help get that footage popping and looking its best that it can do against your other 4K footage. So we'll just start a new project just to show you very quickly. We do event and we're going to do it 4K. I'll just call this test. Okay, so we can drop in, I'm going to drop in the clip that I have. Okay, so the footage itself isn't terrible, but what we can do is we can improve this just to make it look sort of not too drastically different to the 4K native footage. First thing that we want to do is the whole sort of picture looks slightly grey and it's not quite as sharp, the detail. So funnily enough, what we want to do is use the Sharpen effect. Using Final Cut Pro for this, but obviously, you know, if you've got like Adobe Premiere, very similar sort of techniques will apply. So we're going to drag over the Sharpen. Now obviously if you go from 0, it's how it was. Now the more I sharpen it, you know, it looks terrible, but you get the idea of what it does. It's kind of like helping with the contrast. Now you can do this as much or as little as you want. I honestly would say do as little as possible. You just want to make it pop that little bit more. Now to help you sort of see this in better detail, what I would do is actually zoom in maybe to like 100%, find a section of the video which maybe has various aspects. So I'm going to look at here because we've got some sea, we've got the waves, we've got the grass and we've got the rocks. So we could manually just keep dragging and sort of seeing where we like it. But what I found was quite a nice sweet spot. Standard 2.7 is fine. Now, oops, not 20, but 2 is actually quite a nice amount. Now, if I toggle this on and off, try and look at the detail here in the grass and the rocks, and you'll see sort of how it's just ever so slightly sharper. Now, because it is older footage, I might do 3. So now, let that render, and if I turn it off, again, you can sort of see here it looks a little bit blurred, whereas if I sharpen it, now that contrast is helping that just stand out a little bit more. So let's zoom back out to fit, and if I just toggle that on and off, it might be quite hard to pick this up on the camera, but when it is at full screen, it will make a bit more difference. That the sharpness is here, just making it look a little bit more like it's high resolution than it is, and giving it a bit of a HDR look as well. Which then brings me on to one more step that I would like to do to this footage, which you could do just to help the picture pop. So actually we don't need to drag that over, we can just come up here to the color correction section. And what we're going to do, first of all, let's look at the exposure. So we don't want to go too high with the brightness on this because I don't want to lose too much of the detail in the foam in the water. But we can just up it a little bit and then drop the midtones down just ever so slightly. But then what I might do is, because I don't want to lose too much detail in the shading, just up the shadows a little bit, drop the midtones again. Now you can play with this as much as you want, but I'm going to sort of leave the brightness maybe about there. And now what we might want to do is, with my later footage, we have better sort of colours. So what I'm going to do is maybe just up the saturation a bit. Now obviously, as you can see, the more you do, it's starting to look absolutely crazy. Now you might actually like the kind of colour that you've currently got, but maybe just to make it pop a bit more, it can't harm to just up that saturation a little bit. Now let's go over to the colour. And one last thing you can do just to make this look a little bit more cinematic is with your highlights, just drag that up and ever so slightly across. And what that's doing is adding a little bit of blue tone to the kind of light areas. And then what you want to do is with the midtones is drop that down a little bit. Now what that'll do is add a bit of an orange sort of tint to the midtones. It's sort of warmer tones. So you've got the cooler in the highlights and the warmer in the midtones. And really, that is about it. Now, if I just toggle it on and off, again, I know it's not drastically different, but we don't want to go crazy with this. We just want to make it so it doesn't stand out that it's sort of worse than the native 4K footage. But I think, as you can see, the detail and the colours are helping this footage just bring a bit more life into it and helping it look a little bit sharper. Now what I can do is just to sort of show you as well, if I drag the crop tool and I've put one over the top of the other, you can see the difference there. So that is the natural footage that I dragged in, and then this is after I've edited it. It does look pretty cool. It definitely has a slightly more cinematic look. And hopefully this will help you sort of improving your footage. Just looking at that there, if you actually concentrate at the ocean in this section where the mouse is, just have a look at that, passing that over the top. See how I'm actually gaining more detail and colour depth in that section compared to what it was before. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it will help you out. Please give me a thumbs up if you have liked this video, comment below, and if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe for future videos. Thank you all again for watching. See you again soon. Bye.